What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, and the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what pieces of data are coming out for tomorrow, what the news is saying about the markets, what you should be watching for as we progress as time goes on. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just about 8 days from now, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with NIO. So looking at NIO, we got a very nice bullish divergence developed on the chart. And I told you all that NIO could drop a little bit more. We're going to be watching to see if buyers could step in at these lower levels. And we actually saw some buyers stepping in. They helped pump NIO all the way back up to these levels, and they managed to close somewhat in the green or just barely in the green. So now we have a possible and potential inverse head and shoulders like structure that is developing on the chart right here, but it depends on if NIO could hold these levels or not. Because NIO could be looking at an accumulation right here temporarily, start pushing up a little bit higher, and this could help the share price to some extent. But we need to see if NIO holds these levels or not. So I will be talking more about this in just a couple of minutes. Let's first talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the PMI data coming out for the S&P Global Composites, the manufacturing and services sectors, not to mention the Richmond, Fed Manufacturing Index. So all this manufacturing and services data is coming out 15 minutes and 30 minutes after the market opens. And then later on at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we have the 2-year note auction coming out that could change the market direction depending on what it's looking like. So far, we have some data coming out. Watch for some volatility during the first 15 and 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, that's when we should see what the market actually ends up doing. Now, to add on to this, let me talk about this first before I talk about NIO. We have some big earnings coming out that are going to be affecting the whole market. So we have Coca-Cola before the market opens on Tuesday. And then we also have Verizon and etc. And then after the market closes, we have Microsoft and Alphabet, aka Google. On Wednesday, we have Meta and IBM, and on Thursday, we have Amazon all announcing earnings. So it's going to be very telling, and we'll have to see how this ends up looking. Now, for NIO, the all new ES8 has become very, very popular for the G20 Entrepreneurship Roundtable of 2023. That's good news for NIO as they're getting more exposure and more individuals and investors are looking into their products. NIO is also considering buying production facilities from partner JAC. They're continuing to do this, and they're very interested in this because by bidding for the 2 plants in the eastern Chinese city, this could once again help them control the production process. This will help them exercise more control too, and this is going to help them continue to grow even quicker. So this is going to be one of the easiest ways for this company to obtain the production license. This is what they did previously. And this is going to be very helpful for their expansion and their growth as years go on. This is something that they're offering to do, and this could be very, very good for them. The state-owned JAC said on October 20th that it plans to look for buyers publicly, and if NIO ends up bidding, if they end up buying it, that could be some bullish news for them. Now, Deutsche Bank has come out. They've given NIO a buy rating. Mizuho still maintains a buy rating for NIO. The price-price ratio is a little down because NIO has been, underperforming a bit, but it's approaching this bottom, and I believe that NIO is getting very close to its bottom. The downside must be very limited before this thing makes some moves to the upside. And that's pretty much it in terms of data. Expect some volatility during the first 15 and 30 minutes. And the volume on NIO has been about 34 million, so very close to average, nothing new whatsoever. So now the question is, what's going to happen to the markets? The answer is quite simple. So we might see NIO drop in the morning because we could be forming kind of like an inverse head and shoulders like structure. I think we might see NIO retest 7.5 or so, maybe a little bit lower. It could drop a little bit more, and then we get this bounce. But I think that it could retest 7.5 and bounce. But ultimately, I believe that regardless of what happens, if NIO gets the bounce or not, I mean, we're forming a really nice bullish divergence. And when you look at the daily charts on NIO, you will see that NIO is on the verge of bottoming around $7. So we're getting very close to our bottom. And there should be a very big bounce coming for the month of November, in my opinion, for the chart. So I'm anticipating some upside soon. Just give it a few more weeks, guys. Just a few more weeks. We're going to see this thing really bounce. That's when the real bounce should be coming. For now, we could see an attempt to bounce so long as the market continues to hold up. Now, we might see a drop tomorrow morning. We could see NIO come down towards this 7.5 area. This is where we have this wick right here, forming an inverse head and shoulders. And I think that we might see a bounce from there back up to about 7.8. So we could see a bottoming process for NIO for the short term and also for the medium term. And we'll see if this is the ultimate, excuse me, the ultimate bottom or not. Excuse me, guys, sorry. So looking at SPY, we also have an inverse head and shoulders like structure. We need to see if buyers could bring this thing above 124. If we manage to break and hold it, I'm sorry, 424, not 124, 424. If we break that, we could see SPY go all the way up to 427. But if we fell at 420, we could come back down to 418. My gut is telling me the inverse head and shoulders will play out, and we'll see this thing start pushing a little bit in the higher end. For the QQQ, we have a possible inverse head and shoulders structure as well. If we do see buyers stepping in, we break this resistance right here, the high of the day at 359. I could see 361. It is possible we test our 200 EMA and we see some resistance right there. But this is going to depend on earnings, how the market perceives them, and other factors like that. So I'm leaning a bit more bullish, but we need to see if the QQQ ends up getting the buyers that step in to push it higher. For Apple stock, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure as well. If the buyers come in, we could see this thing come up to 175. We need to see Apple hold 172.5. If we lose it, then that's going to be our pivot zone, and we could see it come down to 170. If we hold 172.5, it's going to push up for 175, and I think the odds favor it holding and trying to go up even higher. For Nvda, Nvda has this nice structure that developed, continuing to push up higher. I'm going to be looking for a back test though, because it's a little bit overbought. We might see it back test like 426 to 425, drop a little bit, and then make an attempt to bounce later on. I believe that this could be dragging Nvda to a different direction, because we could be forming like a inverse head and shoulders. It could retrace towards where this left shoulder is, even down to like 420 to 425, somewhere there in this zone, come down a little bit and then bounce and then start pushing. I think an inverse head and shoulders is possible on Nvda. Could be trying to form one temporarily, and we could see a very, very big change in market structure for this stock alongside many others. So if we get this rejection, we come down, excuse me, we could see 420 being tested, and then we could get a bounce after that and start pushing. If not, it could try to keep going. My gut tells me we're going to be back testing 420, then bouncing, and we're going to see this thing push up even higher because Nvidia is a very strong stock. You could just keep going regardless. So for Tesla, I forgot to mention Tesla. Tesla has a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure developing. We need to see if Tesla could hold this support right here. Can Tesla hold 208? If we hold this 208 area, we could see this more buyers coming in. So I could see it drop a little bit, then a bounce, and we could see it start to push up higher as time goes on. But it depends on if we hold this bottom. We do look like we could be starting a change in market structure to make higher highs and higher lows, but we need to see this as confirmation if Tesla could establish a bottom at 208 to 210 and then start pushing up above the high of the day. If it breaks the high of the day, we're going to be watching for a push up to 221. So there is potential for Tesla to be forming an inverse head and shoulders to push higher, but we need to be watching that very carefully. So for NIO, with that said, I'm anticipating a retracement to 7.5. Then I think buyers will step in again. They could be pushing NIO right back up towards 7.85. We're going to be watching this very, very carefully. So please remain calm, cool, and collected, guys. And with that said, I think that we could see a little drop on NIO before a nice bounce. And very soon, over the next few weeks, I think NIO has even more upside coming thanks to its deliveries, other factors like that. I believe that the market is going to help NIO start to uptrend. I think upside is coming very soon. All right, that's one for this one. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again, and peace out.